So far, 10 executions have been performed in 2022 by the US. Here are the crimes committed by the death row prisoners. Donald Grant, January 27, 2022, age 46. He spent 16 years on death row. He was the first man to be executed in 2022 after being convicted of murdering 22-year-old Brenda McKellia and 42-year-old Felicia Smith during an armed robbery in 2001. Grant's final words were reported to be disjointed and incoherent. "I'm going to go to the universe, and then I'll be back. God is here, the true God." Grant was also reported as saying, "I've got things to handle, no doubt, no doubt." Matthew Reeves, January 27, 2022, age 44. He spent 23 years on death row. He was executed by the state of Alabama for the 1996 murder of Willie Johnson. He had intellectual disabilities with an IQ score in the 60s. On Wednesday, November 27, 1996, Reeves and his friends planned to rob a drug dealer. When they arrived at the house, Reeves stuck a shotgun through the cab window and shot Johnson and stole his money. He had no last words and ordered no last meal. Gilbert Postelle, February 17, 2022, age 35. He spent 13 years on death row. He was an American mass murderer who was sentenced to death and executed for his involvement in a quadruple murder in Oklahoma. On May 30, 2005, Postelle shot and killed 4 people he thought were involved in a motorcycle accident his father had. There were no evidences to sustain this belief. The victims were marched into the yard outside the trailer home complex, where they were told to kneel. During the attack, Postelle shot over 30 rounds from an AK-47 rifle, striking all 4 victims. For his last meal, he asked to have 20 chicken nuggets, 3 large fries, 1 crispy chicken sandwich, 1 large cola, 1 caramel frappe. He did not have any last words. Karl Wey Buntion, April 21, 2022, age 78. He spent 31 years on death row. His twin brother, Kenneth Buntion, was killed by 2 police officers during a shootout. At the time, Karl had supposedly vowed to avenge his brother's death. On June 27, 1990, Buntion was the passenger in a vehicle that was pulled over by 37-year-old Houston Police Department officer James Irby. Irby began speaking with the driver, and Buntion exited the vehicle and shot Irby once in the head. Irby fell to the ground, and Buntion shot Irby twice in the back. Buntion fled the scene, shooting at others who were nearby. After killing Irby, he also attempted to shoot at a driver during a carjacking attempt, fired at another officer, and held another person at gunpoint before he was arrested. His last statement was the following: "I wanted the Irby family to know one thing. I do have remorse for what I did. I pray to God that they get the closure for me killing their father and Mrs. Irby's husband. To all of my friends that stuck with me through all of these years, I am not going to say goodbye, just saying so long. I'm ready to go to heaven, Warden." Carman Deck, May 5, 2022, age 56. He spent 23 years on death row. Carmen Deck Jr. and his sister robbed James and Zelma Long in their home. Afterwards, Deck forced them to lie face down on their bed for 10 minutes while he thought of what to do, then shot each twice in the head. Carmen Deck committed the crime to get money for his mother and her boyfriend, and the murder weapon came from his mother's boyfriend. He wrote the following final statement: "My hope is that one day the world will find peace and that we all will learn to be kind and loving to one another. We all are a part of this journey through life, connected in every way. Please give love, show love, be love." Clarence Dixon, May 11, 2022, age 66. He spent 14 years on death row. He was convicted of the January 7, 1978 murder of 21-year-old Deanna Lynn Boudouin in Tempe, Arizona. The murder went unsolved until 2001 when DNA profiling linked him to the crime. Dixon, who was serving a life sentence for a 1986 sexual assault conviction, was also found guilty of this murder and was formally sentenced to death on January 24, 2008. On January 6, 1978, Deanna met her parents for dinner and then went to meet a friend at a nearby bar. The two stayed at the bar until midnight, and then Deanna told her friends she was going home. She returned to her apartment in the early hours of January 7. At around 2 a.m., her boyfriend returned to the apartment and found her dead body lying on the bed. She had been strangled to death with a belt, She was stabbed multiple times and she was also sexually assaulted. Diana's murder went unsolved for over 20 years and became a cold case. In 2001, a cold case detective checked the DNA profile against the national database. He learned that the profile matched Clarence Dixon. It was learned that Dixon had lived across the street from Diana at the time of her murder. None of her family or friends knew of any connection between the two. Dixon maintained his innocence until the end, and his final words were, "Maybe I will see you on the other side, Diana. I don't know you and I don't remember you." Frank Atwood, June 8, 2022, age 66. He spent 35 years on death row. He was convicted for murdering 80-year-old Vicki Lynn Hoskisson. He abducted her while she was riding the bicycle to mail her aunt a birthday card. Her remains were found 7 months later. Atwood maintained his innocence and did not apologize to the family of Vicki Hoskisson. His last words were, "Thank you, precious father, for coming today and shepherding me into faith. I want to thank my beautiful wife who has loved me with everything she has. I want to thank my friends and legal team and most of all, Jesus Christ through this unfair judicial process that led to my salvation. I pray the Lord will have mercy on all of us and that the Lord will have mercy on me." Joe Nathan James Jr., July 28, 2022, age 50. He spent 25 years on death row. Joe Nathan James was sentenced to death for his role in the 1994 killing of his former girlfriend, Faith Hall. According to the press, James forced his way into Hall's Birmingham home on August 15, 1994, accused her of infidelity, and shot her. His execution took 3 hours longer than expected, and there are no official statements about what happened during that time interval. Alabama has a history of botched executions, and the family of the inmate fears this was the case here as well. He did not have any final words. Kosoul Chanthakoummane, August 17, 2022, age 41. He spent 14 years on death row. He was convicted of killing real estate agent Sarah Walker in a model home by stabbing her over 40 times. She was only 40 years old. Kosoul has maintained his innocence until the end. During his execution, he thanked Jesus Christ, Texas Prison System Ministries, and all the people that aided him in his life journey. Also, he added, "I pray my death will bring them peace," as the victim's family didn't attend his execution. Meanwhile, he glanced out the window and mentioned, "Mom, I love you," while looking at his mother. James Coddington, August 25, 2022, age 50. He spent 20 years on death row. Convicted for murdering his friend and co-worker Albert Hale, who was 73-year-old, after he refused to lend him $50 to buy cocaine. James used a hammer to hit Hale on the head at least 3 times inside his home. During his execution, Coddington did not express remorse or mention Hale's name. Instead, he had a final message for family and friends. "To all my family and friends, lawyers, everyone who has been around me and loved me, thank you. Governor Stitt, I don't blame you and I forgive you." Coddington then gave his attorney Emma Rolls a thumbs up while she quietly cried in the witness room. What do you guys think? Do you think that maybe there's a possibility that one of these 10 men was innocent? And if that's the case, leave a comment down below and let me know who do you think did not deserve the death penalty. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.